Today we're doing a little bit of an off-topic video. I'm going to be talking about the process of purchasing a new vehicle from a dealership without hopefully getting completely and totally left with the short end of the stick here, so to speak. You know, the joke is there's two kinds of people: those who think they paid too much for their new vehicle and those who actually did. And you know, I don't claim to be an expert on car dealerships or how they work. I don't have that much inside information, but what I do have, I'll share with y'all in this video, and I will tell you the story of how I purchased this truck, which is brand new, like 5 miles when I picked this thing up. You know, diesel 4x4, 6.7 diesel, 4-wheel drive with locking rear axle, crew cab, 8-foot bed, you know, power windows, power locks, all the stuff I wanted for well under 50 grand out the door. You know, I feel like I got a fairly decent deal on this, and I learned a lot about, you know, like I said, how car dealerships work and everything, and all the people I talked to, including a couple of individuals that I got some very valuable information from. Now, the first thing you have to realize about car dealerships is that they work off of, from what I found, two different things: impulsiveness and emotional attachment. Now, when I figured out that I was going to enter the market for a new vehicle, I pretty much knew exactly what I wanted, but I feel like this is something which anybody should make an effort to do, because if you don't know exactly what you want, how can you try to get worthwhile quotes from different dealers on exactly what you want if you can't even identify what that is? Or worse, you go there and the salesman talks you into all sorts of unnecessary crap that you don't need and probably don't even want, but you don't know that because you don't know what you want. So what I did first off is I came up with a list of features that I wanted, and I sent this to about 5 or 6 different dealerships. And one side note on this is I basically just said, you know, tell me how much you can get me out the door for with this. You know, I'm basically going to buy from whoever can get me the furthest under invoice humanly possible. And this brings us to our first point, which is to figure out what people are actually paying for these vehicles. Just literally, if you go to your favorite internet search engine and you just type in, you know, what did you pay for 2017 F350, for instance, you will get, in the case of any like even remotely common vehicle, dozens, if not hundreds or even thousands of results off of forum threads and everything. I spent a couple nights. I actually made a list of what these prices were. Now, unfortunately, in my case, this is more of a specific thing. It's not quite as relevant because this is the new body style F350, and unfortunately, from what everything on pretty much every single internet forum said that I read, and both dealerships I talked to more or less confirmed, but take that for whatever it's worth, is they can't really come down as far off of sticker price on the new trucks as the older trucks. And this was evident before the 2017s even started rolling out, that they were going to cost a little more. Now let's talk pricing. So normally I don't like to, you know, put that much in the way of prices out there, but I will for the sake of this video, because like I said, I'm not here to claim I got the greatest deal on price whatsoever, but I got a price that 4 dealers flat out refused to beat, and 2 of them, like I said, they wouldn't even waste their time talking to me because presumably they weren't going to make that much money on the sale. So no one should ever, under any circumstances, and I know most of you guys know this already, pay even remotely close to what's on the sticker price of a vehicle, you know, that thing you look at in the window, or whatever the salesman comes to you with for the first time. So keep that in mind. Now, like I said, I feel like the best thing I did for myself in this purchase, there's 2 things. One, I separated myself from any real emotional attachment to the vehicle. Actually, I guess more than 2 things. 2, I flat out refused to even come in and meet with these people, test drive them or whatever, until I knew what they could get me a truck and figured as I requested it to be was price-wise. Now, one caveat to this, I specifically put in all of the emails I sent, do not call me, email me, something along those lines. And the reason for this is, you know, I was obviously talking to quite a few dealerships, and I wanted to be able to keep things straight. Like, this dealership said this dealership said that. They pretty much all called me anyway. So the last dealership I talked to, I thought I'd outsmart this and not even put in my phone number. I just put like straight zeros in the phone number box or something, and they evidently never got my you know, form submission or whatever for a request on the quote for this. So don't do that. My advice, if you're going to do what I recommend, which is make them email you, specifically put in the email, not only please quote this over email, specifically put in there, if you do not email me and you call me, I am not buying a truck from you. Because otherwise, regardless of what you request, your phone's going to be ringing like 12 times a day from, in my case, 5 or 6 different dealerships. So that was a little bit frustrating. But like I said, what I did is I straight up said, this is what I want. What can you get this to me for? 3 of the 4 dealerships in the Metroplex I talked to either straight up would not do anything for me, or they gave me a fairly high quote on this, which I then took to another dealership outside of said Metroplex, and they beat the best quote I got here in the city area by $3,000. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the financial aspect of things. You know, you've already made it this far. You figured out what you want. You know, you've decided, you've made a conscious commitment to separate yourself from as much emotion as possible. You know you're not going to buy anything until you get quotes from multiple dealers, no matter what. I do not care what they say. I don't care if they say, oh, if you don't buy this now, you know, we can't give you this price tomorrow. Yeah, you can. And if that sale's ending, you'll be back in a week when the next sale starts, because a lot of vehicles are perpetually on sale. A lot of you guys have already notice this if you listen to the radio, whatever your local dealership is. This is our big end of the year sale. They've never been this cheap. 4th of July. It's the big 4th of July sale. We're doing deals better than we've ever done before. Spring cleaning, Thanksgiving, the friggin' 12th of October, because it's the 12th of October. Everything is perpetually on sale, and if it's not at one dealership, it's going to be at the other one, so don't fall for that. The other thing is, anytime someone says, if you come back, this is going to cost more, they're basically telling you in the most surefire way humanly possible that you can get a better price elsewhere. This truck, stickered, and like I said, I'm a little hesitant to give prices because I don't claim to have gotten the greatest deal ever, but as mentioned, I did a lot better than if I would have just gone to a local dealership, and bought the first thing there for what they could do, like a lot of people out there will and have. So I feel like I did decently okay on this. This truck, sticker price is about $54,000 on this thing. Like I said, long truck, 8-foot bed, crew cab, diesel engine, 4x4, power everything, the works, other than seats. I can live with that. And so what I ended up getting this thing for was about $46,000. Plus tax, title, and license and everything. So speaking of that, the first big point I'm going to make to you guys is make sure you negotiate with people based on an out-the-door price. This is incredibly important. Switching to a hypothetical vehicle, just so we can use round numbers here. One dealer, if you say, what's the best price you can get me on this vehicle? They're going to say, I'll get you this for $25,000. And then you're like, oh, that's the best thing ever. The other dealership said theirs is going to cost $27,000. And then what happens when you get to the dealership with the lower price is they can get you the vehicle for $27,000. But guess what? There's $3,000 in dealer fees tacked on top of that, and they're going to give you $2,000 less for your trade than the other place would have gotten. So yes, they're selling your vehicle to you at an unbelievable low price, but really it's actually, quite frankly, very believable. My advice is make sure no matter what happens, get quotes from multiple dealers, period. And make sure you look at things in the aspect of, if I buy this vehicle here, it's going to cost me my trade and this many dollars, versus here, it's going to cost me my trade and this many dollars, or your trade and your down payment, or just your down payment, or whatever the heck it is for you. Now, why do I say this? Because one dealership I talked to, they're like, man, we'll get you this for $49,000 out the door. No, never mind that. They said $49,000 will get you this truck. The other dealer says, I'll get you this for 48 and change or whatever. And so the catch with that is the dealer with the lower price, like I just said, although the price on the 2 trucks was the same from both dealers, as was my trade-in, the one from the cheaper dealer was going to cost me $2,000 to $3,000 more because of stuff they tack on. And I don't mean aftermarket stuff. I'm talking, the shipping fee is now $800 instead of $450, that kind of thing. Where I'm going with this is, if you negotiate based on out-the-door price, it is not on you anymore. It is not your job anymore to negotiate like a lower transportation fee, a lower document fee, whatever. The dealer has to figure out how to make that work. Now, there's not that much they can do about sales tax and registration and stuff, but like I said, shipping fees, document fees, all that little frivolous crap that they add on, that is now firmly on their hands to negotiate down, because they know they can't tell you we're going to get you this cheap, then kind of give you the short end of the stick on all the fees. They know that all you care about is, this is going to cost you your trade and X number of dollars here, or your trade and X number of dollars there. Now, like I said, when I looked at things like this, I was about ready to take the deal from the place with the better price. But when I got to looking at things like this, I discovered that this truck was going to cost me my trade and like 29 grand here and my trade and 32 grand here, despite the fact the prices on the new truck were the same, so to speak, within like $500. There's like a $3,000 difference on these two prices. So keep that in mind. The other thing is, do not under any circumstances negotiate things based on monthly payment or on financing. You know, if you're in the position of I'll buy from anyone who can finance me. I mean, no disrespect or judgment. You're not in the position to buy a new vehicle. You need to buy like a $2,000 Corolla off of Craigslist and hope it holds together for another 5,000 miles while you fix your credit. And I say this from personal experience. I once kind of regrettably dated a girl, and that was exactly what she did. And she had a what's referred to as a predatory loan. This was all from before I met her. So, to throw out numbers, because I don't remember what all this stuff was, but I kind of helped her fix the situation a little bit. If her car payment was $500 a month, what she was actually paying towards the cost of the car, it was like $150 or something insane, then like $200 in interest and the rest in fees. And the reason why she was in this position is she had like one bad thing happen to her credit, and so most places just flat out would not finance her. So she just bought from this one random dealer she found who would, and surprise, surprise, completely got screwed. So aside from that, assuming your credit is somewhat functional, what's going to happen is if you say, I have $550 in my budget, and that is about what this would have cost, like $550 to $650, if you break down everything month to month, at least for roughly what I paid and roughly what my credit is. And the thing is, this varies. What's a great deal here is probably not a great deal elsewhere, and vice versa. We're stepping aside for a moment, but keep this in mind when you do what I recommend, which is you look around on the internet for what people pay. Literally just search, what did you pay for your 2017 Super Duty forum? You put the word forum and then Google kicks back forum results as opposed to articles and stuff, and you really need the forum results because this is where you find the useful information. Shoot, I got friggin' way off topic there. Like I said, if you're making decisions based on payment, so you can make that $500 payment just to pick an easy number. What's going to happen is the dealer's going to say, oh, this guy, he can pay $500 a month. And well, look, buddy, friend, hot, sexy man, whatever tactic they're trying to do to get to you, basically, whatever they're trying to do. Look, guy, we can get you this payment, but you're gonna have to pay a little more for the vehicle in this case, or we can get you this payment, but instead of paying $520 for 4 years, you're paying $500 for 6. So you're really gonna get the short end of the stick here. One guy on YouTube who talks, who makes videos kind of like this one of the ones I watched, I remember him talking about, he was basically buying a car for his sister. It was her money in her car and everything, but he was dealing with the dealerships and everything, and she could afford like, I don't know, $160 a month or something for a small car. I don't know my Toyotas, but this is like one of the smallest in their lineup, and so, basically the difference was she was going to be paying that for 4 years at one dealership or like 5.5 from another one. And when they stopped negotiating based on payment, he was able to get her a much better deal on the car. And then, surprise, surprise, when it comes time to finance this, that's when he ended up getting the payment fixed. This is the other thing. Do not tell the salesman anything about this. I would not even talk about how you're paying for this until you're on the desk of the finance person at the dealership and you work that out with them. This is the other thing. A lot of the finance officers or whatever, they'll be extremely friendly for you. These guys you have to be worried about more than salesmen. Once you've negotiated the price of the vehicle, you're not done yet. You have to go back into this office and they're going to hit you left, right, and center and kick you 3 times when you're on the floor with, you need this, you need that, you have to pay extra money for this. I wouldn't own one of these without one of these, that type of thing. So do your research beforehand, and my advice is flat out refuse to buy anything that you didn't figure on buying beforehand. There's a lot of videos out there about this. Some of these places are a lot sketchier and a lot sleazier than others. The worst I dealt with was one of the Ford dealers I went to tried to pawn off their own craptacular third-party warranty as the legit Ford warranty. Was not pleased. That was actually the main reason why I didn't end up buying from those idiots. Well, I say that literally just the finance guy. Salesman I really liked him. But anyway, where I'm going with this is when you go back there, expect sales pitches on all the most random crap, and make sure if you're going to buy an aftermarket, or an extended warranty, do your homework beforehand. Let me tell you a story. If you're in the market for one of these trucks right here, pretty much the consensus on all the internet forums, even from Bill, the PowerstrokeHelp.com guy, who has a great channel if you're interested in basically like pretty much any even remotely new Ford diesel truck. I watched like pretty much all of his 6-7 videos before I bought this thing. Great channel. He'll flat out say the only warranty worth a crap on these things is the legit Ford aftermarket warranty. All the dealers I talk to, they will try to sell you an aftermarket warranty from like a third party. Do not buy these things. I'm sure some of them, to some of their credit, are perfectly honest and legitimate, and I do not mean to disparage them. However, you start reading up on these things on the internet, you find horror stories of how, someone paid thousands of dollars for this aftermarket warranty on their vehicle, and then the warranty company went bankrupt or closed and now is under a different name or something. So they're flat out everything they paid. There's literally nothing that these places will do. A lot of them are worded and structured in ways so you think you're getting the best coverage humanly possible, and then really because of this random little detail, or really we cover 49 sensors on this vehicle, just not the one that costs you $1,500 to replace, or we found 3 French fries underneath the seat of your truck and this is what's going to void your warranty, so this is on you. Thanks for the $4,000, sucker. So, like I said, in this case at least, I can't speak for other warranties or other manufacturers, but in the case of the Ford Super Duties, flat out avoid, run, don't walk from anything aftermarket. And the dealership I ended up purchasing this truck from, when I go talk to their finance guy, predictably, doom and gloom, oh, went down one of these without 1 days, heard it here, you need this, that, this repair. If we do it, the dealer who charges a huge amount of money does it, it's going to cost you, heard it here, this much. And I was prepared for this, especially after another dealer I talked to, like I said, tried to pawn theirs off on me, so I was really not in any mood for BS, and if anything, I might have even been a little rude for the guy, which I, for some reason, felt a little bad for later. But I was straight up with him. I was like, look, I appreciate it. I know this is a moneymaker for you guys. I don't want it. Literally the only one I would even remotely consider is the Ford warranty. And you know what? You don't want to sell me that, because in all the reading I did on the forums on these, because I did my homework, I found out that the warranty, which usually costs about $4,000 from the dealer, a couple of Ford dealers run an online thing where they sell you the warranty because you have to buy it from a legit Ford dealer. So a couple of dealers around the country, like there's one in Rhode Island, they have a service where you just go to this website and they sell you this thing for a little bit over cost, and that's all this department does. And these are perfectly legit, as confirmed by like dozens of different forum posters. So I told the guy straight up, this is what I was going to do. He's like, oh man, all right, you know what? All right, fine. I can get you the Ford warranty, and I can get it to you for like $200 over cost. This is what anybody who works here would pay, basically. And and this was good because the aftermarket warranty this person wanted to sell me, it was like $3,900 for this thing, and the Ford, like legit Ford warranty, it was like $2,300, and it was a better warranty and it was longer. So if you're curious, since I'm throwing out prices here, this warranty was the 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty. There's also a 7-year, 200,000-mile legit Ford extended warranty. I guess it's not really an aftermarket warranty if it's through Ford. The reason I went through for the 100,000-mile warranty, there's actually 2 of them. Mainly, I owned my last truck for about 5 years. I put about 70,000 miles on it, and that included a couple long-distance moves. So I said to myself, I'm probably not going to cross 100,000 miles in 7 years. The other thing is, this warranty, like I said, was like $2,200 or something. The 7-year, 200,000 miles set of the same exact warranty for, I think it was the same exact warranty, but I think the 7-year, 200,000 mile one is mainly just the powertrain. That one was like $1,800 more or $1,400 more or something. So again, do your homework, or this is how I look at it. You're going to pay a lot of time for a vehicle purchase in one of 2 ways. One, you do what I did. You sit at your laptop, you listen to some music, you scroll through forum results, you figure out what people are actually paying for these. That's how I found out about the warranty thing, which saved me about $2,000 alone. Never mind if I bought the craptacular one and then gotten screwed later. So that saved me a couple grand right there. Not bad for a night's work, let alone the fact that because I knew what people were actually paying from these, from all those what did you pay threads, I knew that the sticker price on this thing of $54,000 or something wasn't that great of a deal, obviously. And one of the dealers I talked to could get me this for the best they could do of a very generous $52,000 and change. Another dealer was like $48,000 and change. I ended up paying about $46,000 for this thing. Can't complain, because like I said, that's like a full $8,000 savings over paying sticker price, which no one does. So practically it was about a $6,000 savings for doing nothing other than sending a few emails, driving to 2 dealerships, and regrettably talking to a couple salesmen on the phone. So yeah, like I said, you're going to end up paying for this in one of two ways. You're either going to invest a small amount of time beforehand doing your homework, shopping around, that type of thing, or you're going to pay for it after hand, if that's a word, because you're going to pay way too much for the thing, and then you're going to pay a lot of hours of your life transformed into monetary value through wherever it is you work or whatever you do for work to pay for the vehicle. So you're going to pay some time for this thing, basically. So you might as well plan this out and do a little bit of homework beforehand. The other thing, I feel like I've covered a lot of what I wanted to say on this. Yeah, if I didn't talk about it before, it really does vary a little bit around the country, and it also varies through body styles. Ford decided they were going to make this truck with an aluminum body, you know, which is kind of cool. You know, it's nice it doesn't rust, but I live in Texas, so I don't really worry about that anyway. I almost kind of wish they hadn't, because the aluminum body and a bunch of other things they did, they raised the price of the truck by a lot. We're talking probably $2,000–$3,000, and then there's all the emissions nonsense, which, you know, that jacks it up by another $2,000 or $3,000, which is built into the upcharge when you pay more for the diesel engine, which on the 7.3s, from what I'm told, was like $4,000 or $5,000. On this, it was like $8,700 or something. Where I'm going with this is keep this in mind, because everybody, dealers, customers, salesmen will say that the rebates on the old ones and how much they could actually negotiate is a lot more. And to be fair, I'm fairly certain it actually is, because one of the salesmen I talked to, we were waiting on something or other to happen at the dealership. I can't remember exactly what, but I tried to wring a little bit of information out of him regarding the higher trim level trucks. And he said basically they're still fairly limited in what they can do on those, not like they were on the older body style trucks. And he actually did pull up an invoice and confirm this. For instance, on the specific truck he was showing me, it was a $75,000 truck, and the invoice on this was like $70,000 and like $600 or something. So this is another thing I should talk about. This is fairly easy to find information out there on the internet. There's a sticker price or the MSRP or whatever the grossly inflated price is. It's a starting point on buying a vehicle like this. And then you talk to them and there's what they can do. And then the next step below that is invoice. But keep in mind, this is what they're paying for the truck. When you hear all the sales pitches about how, oh, you pay what we pay, and it sounds too good to be true, that's because it is. They're going to sell you the truck or whatever for invoice price, but they're also going to try to shaft you on your trade-in, so they make an extra few grand off of that, and then they're going to try to hit you with fees like we talked about. This is why you negotiate based on out-the-door price. They're going to hit you on fees. So yeah, you're buying the truck for what they pay for it, leaving aside the fact that you're really paying a lot more than if you paid a little over invoice somewhere else, got more for your trade-in, and then not gotten shafted on the fees. The other thing to keep in mind is no one outside of these dealerships really knows what the monetary incentive is for said dealerships selling you a vehicle are. For example, there's the invoice price, and then if they sell you for that, they're still keeping a few bucks out of that due to what's called the holdback. And then on top of that, there's all these incentives for them to sell you the truck. Yeah, you know, we sold it to you for $500 under invoice, so you're getting the deal of the century here, buddy. Heard it, or we've never sold them this cheap, you know, all that stuff. So yeah, there's all that, but really, you know, they're getting points from Ford, all these things. The dealership I bought this thing from, they had this like presidential award or something from Ford, so they could basically sell these things like they actually could. This wasn't salesman's talk. I confirmed this through some other dealerships who couldn't get even remotely close to their price. They could actually sell these for other dealerships because they get some kind of insane rebate or incentive from Ford for selling them, so they don't actually have to make money on the sale. They can sell them for cost, and then they still, you know, they have a monetary incentive through Ford for doing so in some form. And like I said, no one really knows what the heck is going on. Even if you do from one company, you don't through other companies. So, you know, if somebody's trying to buy a vehicle from them, you know, it's not really all that relevant. The way I look at it is this. Some people I've talked to, they'll be like, oh, you know, I know salesmen are people too, you know, they have to make money, you know, people who own the dealership, they, you know, it's highway property, you know, they pay a lot in property tax, and The reality is this. Did they sell you the vehicle? If the answer is yes, they did it because it is in their best interest financially, and I don't care what they told you. I don't care if they said, we're losing money on this. This is below invoice. This is below what the employees buy them for, you know, all this crap. The reality is they're getting something out of that, and no matter what anyone tells you, basically, unless probably not even the salesmen know exactly what the dealership itself is getting out of this, basically, unless they work for the manufacturer in the relevant department or like they actually manage the dealership, they don't have a clue what the heck is going on. And this is one way that they can make it so the price isn't actually what anyone pays. And yeah, they can sell you this thing for $500 under invoice, and they're going to try to hit you with that and say, look, it's less than we pay, when the reality is the dealership down the road can sell it to you for $650 under invoice and give you another $1,000 on your trade-in. Now, let's talk trade-ins. So one lesson I learned from this, which is kind of obvious in hindsight, is if you one dealership I talked to, they're like, man, you know, we can only give you so much money for your trade-in because, you know, we have to put like the new plastic piece on the top of the tailgate, because, you know, I move steel around so that thing gets torn up like anybody, you know, moves boards from Home Depot or whatever. You know, we have to do this. You know, you stabbed a bunch of holes in your bed liner moving steel and machinery with it, so, you know, we have to get another one of those. This is when it dawned on me, pay attention to this if you're buying a used car. They replace all this stuff. I know, I'm probably the biggest idiot in the world for not realizing this until I think I'm 24 right now, but, you know, I haven't bought that many used vehicles, let alone from a dealership. So when you go to a dealership, you look at used cars, you're like, whoa, this bed liner is sweet. It looks like they just put this in. There's never been anything back here. That's because they did just put it in. And if the truck's 7 years old, whatever bed liner was in it before got absolutely trashed. So they told the high school kids who work here to pull that thing out, throw it in the dumpster, and get this truck a new one. And, you know, if you look underneath that, if there wasn't a bed liner, your bed's gonna be trashed, but you don't friggin' know this. All you know is you look at this nice, you know, clean, still smells new truck because, you know, they aired out all the plumber farts and gave it an air freshener. And then you see this brand new bed liners, you're like, this thing's never been used before in its entire life. And like I said, that's because it's a brand new bed liner. You know, they change out all this stuff. It's probably kind of obvious, but like I said, I never really researched buying used vehicles from dealers all that much, so it was news to me. So keep that in mind. And I don't know how far they take this. I mean, some dealers, I wouldn't put it past them to put an entire new hitch on. You know, if the things where you hook your breakaway chains are all wallowed out and, like, you know, the face on the receiver hitch, you'll go, look, dude, it's still got paint. Whoa, I'm sure it's never been used. It's incomprehensible that someone just bolted this on last night in your service department. I'm not saying that type of thing happens, but it certainly happens with bed liners and like the plastic pieces that go around the bed. And like I said, I don't know how far some dealers are willing to take that. And, you know, this is why a lot of people say, you know, dealerships are all inherently dishonest or whatever. And the thing is, it's all relative. You can justify that either way. You can justify it as a dealer saying, look, you know, new bed liner, new plastic pieces on top of the bed. This is a selling point. You know, somebody's going to pay more for this because it looks new. You look at it as a critical customer and you're saying, look, these friggin' guys, they're trying to misadvertise this thing that's never been used. You know, they're putting new pieces on here, so it looks new. They want you to think this even if they don't say it. I think they're both right. It's really just how you look at it. But however you look at it doesn't really matter because these things happen and you need to be prepared for it. Just the point is, if you buy something used just because, you know, it's got that shiny new bed liner and the plumber farts have been aired out and it smells like pine trees and new car on the inside, doesn't mean there wasn't a plumber overloading this thing every day for the last 3 years and driving it around town, you know, and murdering it by towing them 3,000 pounds more than it was ever supposed to. So, let's see. What else do I have to add to this? I really don't think there's all that much. So yeah, like I said, I wanted to make this video because, like I said, I do not claim to be an expert in the art of car buying. I do not claim to be able to say I got the best deal ever. I feel like I did pretty well. You know, there's a chance I'll learn something in the comments about this, but the reality is I talked to like 5 or 6 dealers and I got the best price possible out of all of them. So like I said, I saved like $8 grand as opposed to going to my local dealer and just buying something for what they can do for me, buddy, off of it. And I feel like just the simple concept of being able to identify this emotional attachment to things, it'll help you a lot in sales. You can, I won't say you should use it against people, but you certainly could if you're trying to sell a piece of equipment or whatever. You know, you let somebody use it, you let somebody get comfortable with it, you try to get them in there, get them comfortable. You know, things like this you learn, they can help you later in life, either through making money or by saving money next time you buy something. So I feel like I did decently well on this. Like I said, I'm sure someone else out there probably got the deal of the century and beat me by 20 grand or something ridiculous. But like I said, I got a better dealer. I got a better deal than like 5 other dealerships would give me. So I can't really complain all that much. And yeah, so, you know, for whatever it's worth, like I said, I don't claim to be an expert. I did do a fair amount of research on this. I hope I've passed along quite a few tips. Impulsiveness, emotional attachment. Remember that they're making more of these in the case of a new vehicle. And if it's a used vehicle, remember they made like 5 million of them. So I would bet you guys, if you're watching this, saying, that's not real because I'm buying used. Yeah, this thing's been in production for a year, roughly. The old body style is in production for like 10 or 12. There's even more of those than there are of these. Yeah, so keep that in mind as well. Yeah, just random little things to keep in mind. Like I said, I did some research. I learned some lessons. I feel like, although it's definitely possible I didn't get the greatest deal in the history of mankind, I still saved a lot just from the little research that I did. And the other thing is it really pays to keep vehicles for quite a lot of time, because there's a lot of that money you don't get back, like the sales tax and all the dealer fees and everything, and you pay that every time you buy a new vehicle. So, you know, if you buy one vehicle in 20 years, like I'm trying to do with this thing, you're going to save many thousands of dollars versus if you buy one new vehicle over like 3 or 4, you know, years or whatever. The other thing, although I said I'm winding this video down, one of the best pieces of financial advice I ever got, I'll give you, well, I guess just one because this video is already long enough, is when you go to buy something or you think about prices, think about what they're costing you in hours of your time. For example, I bought the XL level truck. I did this because, you know, I kind of grew up around old farm trucks and everything, so this feels a lot more natural to me than like a Lariat or something would. The other reason is because it was a lot cheaper. What I mean by that is that the dealership I went to, this truck, I know about what it costs. I could have bought an XLT, which is basically the same thing, but you know, with different wheels, like with more power options and whatever else, for about 5 grand more. So the salesman said, even if I'd been able to talk that down to 3 or 4 grand more, and I don't know if I would have because I never researched XLT trim trucks, you know, still, think about that, $3,000, just to use a ballpark, fairly easy number. Think about what you make in an hour, then figuring you have to pay taxes on that. So really this $3,000 upgrade isn't costing you another $3,000. It's really costing you more like $5,000 in what you make before taxes. Think about how many hours you have to work to earn that $5,000. Are you really willing to do whatever it is you do for a living out there in the sun, or worse, in the office in a chair, or whatever it is, for that many hours to get aluminum wheels and a sunroof or whatever the heck else? Are you willing to do that for that many hours? Personally, I cannot complain about what I make, especially doing mobile welding, and the answer for me is no. No, I'm not. So, you know, that's just one thing to keep in mind, because, you know, the salesman will be like, oh yeah, so much nicer. Don't you want the nice one? You know, hurt-a-dur, I bet you commute in this or sit in it or drive your family around or whatever it is for lots of hours. Don't you want to be more comfortable? And you know, it's only 3 grand, and you know, breaks down to like $30 a month or 50 or whatever. Yeah, it's 30 or $50 a month, but you can divide that elephant up into lots of little pieces, but it's still a friggin' elephant, or well, pieces of the elephant technically, but it still weighs a lot. And so keep that in mind as well. Yeah, it's only costing you $30 a month or whatever, but really it's costing you quite a bit of money and quite a bit of hours of your time as well. So, you know, I'm not saying these things, nobody should buy them or they're completely frivolous or whatever. It's just a personal decision I made. I wasn't willing to work out in the sun welding stuff for enough hours to pay for the aluminum wheels and whatnot. All right, so for any of you guys that have been watching the video for this long, I'm going to give you one more tip, because I know it's really long and rambly and you deserve a cookie for your efforts. Beware of aftermarket upgrades to the truck. What I mean by that is, when I went and first saw this thing, there's a Ford window sticker, then there's another sticker besides the first sticker. for like $4,000 worth of improvements that have been done to the truck. What were these improvements, you ask? Well, there's a spray and bed liner and tinted windows. And then there were 2 or 3 other things, but they were so random and irrelevant, I honestly do not even remember what the heck they were. And they're trying to sell this truck for $4,000 more because of its upgrades. Here's the reality. This is a bargaining chip. The reason why they do this, they say this truck has $4,000 worth of improvements. If you don't actually know, you can go to the little shops by the highway and have them put 3M window tint on your truck for like $100 to $300 for the good stuff. And then you can pay Line-X to shoot a proper spray and bed liner in this thing for $500 to $1,000 as a super rough ballpark. Then that $4,000 is going to seem very manageable, especially when they do one of 2 things with it. They say, well, look, guy, we can't really, you know, come off the price of the truck that much, but we'll give you that $4,000 in upgrades for $1,000 or $2,000. Or they're going to say, look, that other truck you're looking at the other dealership, it's about the same price. You know, theirs is $500, theirs is $2,000 less, but we're giving you $4,000 worth of upgrades. So, you know what? We'll match their price, and you're getting all these upgrades for half off. When really, you could have gotten the truck for a lot less than the other dealer is charging, and then had better upgrades done yourself, and still been ahead by huge amounts of money. And furthermore, when I saw this thing, the salesman I was talking to, he was going full sales. He's like, look, this has a spray and bed line. He's got the windows in here. You know, he's a really nice guy. And I did genuinely like him a lot. But I look at him like, man, you have one without this stuff? Geez, that's that kind of thin bed liner, man. Really the only one I buy, because I've had the thin ones before. You know, that material, I've used it on other things. I had a Rhino liner and it kind of fell apart. I told him really the only one I consider is like a Line-X one. Do you have one of these trucks like without this stuff? And the window tint, man, the sticker says it's $4,000 worth of crap. I can go to the shop on the highway and have this done for like $300. And the guy looks at me he's like, I'll make it so they don't charge you for this stuff. And it was over. And really, did that cost them $4,000? No, it didn't. The reality is, you know, they have some high school kid working in the back of their service department tinting windows all day, and they pay him like 12 or 14 bucks an hour. And the spray and bed liner, man, you know, you can pay full retail like $100 and get a big bucket of this stuff you can roll on yourself. If you're buying it in dealer quantities, probably 40 or 50 bucks for enough of that stuff to shoot this whole bed, especially with the paper thin layer they gave it. And you know, another $12 an hour high school kid, this is all he does, and he thinks it's great, and it is for him, and it's good for the dealer when they can value this at $600 and give it to you for half off. Is a bargaining chip. So the other thing is a lot of the aftermarket accessories, even the legit Ford ones. I talked to someone once and the dealer tried to sell him like one of those hard plastic drop-in liners for like $600 or $800 because it was the legit Ford one. No, you can buy the same thing with another name on it, like Dura Epic Liner or something, for like $200 or whatever they cost now, but it's not a lot. Or, you know, for $100 more than that, $600 or $800, you can have the whole bed Line-X, and that's a lot better as well. You know, the dealer I bought this truck from, in their showroom, they show some of the upgrades they can do, and there's like I saw one thing. It was 4 of those little LEDs for like $185 plus installation. You can go on Amazon and buy those things, or one like pretty much exactly the same for about 20 bucks. I know, because I bought a bunch of them and put them on my trailer and at least one of my tractors last summer. But you know, if you don't know any of this stuff, or you let them use this as a bargaining chip, so they're giving you these $185 worth of LEDs for free and only charging you $100 to install them. Well, you know, they're saying this is the best deal ever in the world for you, and they're still breaking even on it, and they have this great bargaining chip to use against you. So like I said, if you see this stuff, my advice is to act uninterested, especially even better if you genuinely are uninterested like I was, because in a lot of cases, they will straight up drop it like it's hot. I mean, like on all the paperwork, even before I started negotiating with this guy, he, true to his word, like the upcharge sticker and the prices and everything, it literally didn't even show up. Like on all the paperwork, it starts with whatever Ford's window sticker was, and it goes through like all the discounts and the trade-in and everything, and I got him to beat the other dealer's offer by like thousands of dollars. And like I said, literally did not show up. They threw this thing out so easy, I almost couldn't believe it. So, you know, just keep that in mind. This stuff is a bargaining chip, and anything this dealer can do for you in terms of spraying bed liners or window tinting, I'd be willing to bet that you can do yourself, or you can have a shop that specializes in that, do a better job of it with better materials for less. So, just another thing to keep in mind. Beware of upcharges, especially if they try to use them as a bargaining chip. Just try to get them to throw all that stuff out if you can. But I don't know, whatever the case, still can't complain. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more.